So in hindsight, Coach Dan, who I feel like I know after I've read this book, he really wanted to get to know me, who I was and what made me tick, what values and interests I pursued. I realized much later what Dan had long known. In order to really care about others, you need to really know them. And that means spending quality time with them, asking important questions, and actually listening and caring about their answers. There is no way around that.
Yeah, and it's funny that, I wrote this book mostly from memory, and some of it was so vivid because it was so impactful. Because for the most part, didn't have a lot of coaches that did that. Coaches before that were big on, this is what we're here to do, and you're going to do it or you're not. And Dan began the totally opposite way. And I remember 3 distinct questions during that lunch, and one of them, the 3 were that I remember was, who's your hero? And he didn't care for sports, but he knew that would give great insight to what my archetype of greatness is. What am I looking to in terms of who I want to become? And that's going to say a lot about you as a person. And so you want to know who your hero is. And I think these are great ones any leader can use in a group sharing mentality. You get together and go ask everyone who hero, hardship, and highlight. I think those are 3 easy ones that allow people to go anywhere with them that they want to. And there's no boundaries on what you have to pick from. And, your hero is going to say, again, who the archetype of greatness is that you think is you're driving towards. What's a hardship? And again, it's going to let people realize what you consider a difficult moment in your life. And it could be very different for each person. And it's not the event itself, but it's going to give insight to what you have dealt with. So there's vulnerability, people opening up to a hard point of their life, but really it gives insight to what you view as difficult. And that's going to vary a lot. And then you can gauge how this person's wired. And then a highlight. You always want to end on that nice one. What are you really proud of? And again, no parameters on where you can go with this. Birth of your first child, or some sort of sports highlight, or building your business. Again, it's nice for people to be able to share what they're proud of in front of their peers, so they have confidence in being, yes, I've done this, everyone can realize. But I think it gives great insight again to what do they value as important. What does someone think a highlight really is? And, big difference between someone that it's about making their first $1 million or having their first child. You as a leader can realize this is what this person values as important. And it's not right or wrong. There is no right or wrong.
Right.
It's just insight into how this person's wired and what matters to them. And you collect that. And now you can use that in your daily communication with them, with the understanding of who the great person is that they're trying to strive to be more like, what a hardship means to them, and what a highlight actually means to them, and what do they equate to being good and bad. And then you can manage your messaging based on that real insight. But on the same breath, it also gets you the ability for people to share personal stuff with each other. Real simple stuff. And we've been doing this since high school, asking people questions, but I think we don't do it enough anymore. And if we do it, a lot of times we don't do it with the real intent of learning. We just do it to tick a box because we're supposed to do something. But the key is Dan really wanted to know, because he really wanted to be able to connect with me better. And that was really insightful stuff to know a lot more about who I was as a person.
Oh my gosh, I love that. The 3 H's.
Yeah.
Hero, hardship,
and highlight. Yeah. So you start with your archetype, and realize an emotional, difficult time, and then bring them back up so they can be very proud of something. But laced in that is going to be a lot about your value system, good and bad. Yeah.
And that's why that, that paragraph and that, and you repeated sort of that messaging throughout the book as well, the importance of really getting to know your people. I mean, I've had many, mentors, and I've been lucky to have some fantastic mentors. And I can tell you what separated, the good mentors compared to the great mentors was the great ones invested the time willingly. They asked amazing questions instead of dictating, hey, Sophia, this is what you need to do. And this is how you're going to get there. Instead, it was more questioning that allowed me to get to that self-discovery, because then I have to go and prove it, right? It was, Sophia, what's challenging for you right now? What do you need from me in order to overcome that? What support do you need from me? What support do you need from the team? What does it look like in terms of this goal and success? What does that look like, and what does that mean to you? Like, all of those types of questions made me pause, think, self-reflect, and I was the one that kind of paved that path, right? And so that to me is important, when a mentor takes the time to get to know somebody on a personal level too, to understand what drives them, and then tailoring all of your interactions based on that, instead of the old school kind of way, the way I look at it too, of yeah, because it's easy, I think, for all of us as leaders to sit there and go, this is exactly what each of my people, what their strengths are, and this is exactly where their weaknesses are, and this is how they need to fix it. We can all do that.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
it's so much more meaningful, I think, when you actually ask those questions so they get there themselves. There's more value there.